Hi, my name is Dan Paulson, and I'm excited to be getting to this Sermon on the Mount interpretation where I use an esoteric process and apply that to the verses and see what the verses reveal in using the same process on all of the verses. Up front, I'll let you know that I invoke no supernatural when I do this. I am not interpreting this as a Christian. I am interpreting the works of Jesus as a seeker of spiritual paths and somebody who is interested in all of our masters of antiquity, the Buddha, the Lao Tzu, all of the people who taught in spiritual secret ways. What did they nest? Is there something in there? Yeah, and there is. And that's what I found, and I found the same thing in here in Jesus' teachings, and I would like to reveal that to you. I'll let you look for yourself. I won't tell you what to see or what to think or what to believe. It doesn't work like that in my world. I show you what I find and go, hey, what do you think? That's how this works. Yeah, I only look for things that are demonstrable. I won't tell you at any point, oh, that's where it goes into supernatural. That's beyond us. Rejoice. That won't happen here. But I think that what you're going to find is something that's pretty interesting. No supernatural. What does that mean? All of the things that I believe that have happened, that people can say that they can demonstrate, these good feelings, these miracles, these just mind-reading little points, accidentally being in the right place at the right time, or vice versa, or whatever the case may be, that all of these things that people would say, this is proof of my God or my Holy Ghost or my spirit or my crystal energy or my cosmic energy, I believe all those things happen. I do. They've happened to me. I just don't know what makes them happen. So when people say it is God, it's the Holy Spirit, it's angels, it's genies, it's whatever, I say, show me that part. And nobody can. They just say, look, you see the effect. It's got to be true. Yeah, I see the effect. I don't know what's true. That's what I'm looking for. And so you keep an open mind. That's, to me, what seeking and knocking is. You don't lock onto something and stop there. Anyway, I'm going to start right off by telling you that I believe that the teachings of Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount are like Buddha's Dhammapada, the Tao Te Ching from Lao Tzu, or the Bhagavad Gita from Hinduism, that all of these are a collection of teachings from different times and different places that say, here's a path to follow. Do this, or do this, or do this. But they're not written in plain language. When I'm going to be reading from Jesus, and I'll be using the NRSV when I do it, I treat it exactly like that, like a human being is saying, here, I figured this out. Pass this along. I don't know that Jesus existed or not. I will refer as we go along. I'll just keep it simple by saying Jesus said this, Jesus said that. And I really just mean the writing. Okay, we start with what's called the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, and again, the New Standard Revised Bible. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Okay, when I listen to this, I get this kind of this image in my mind of even perhaps in some Asian setting or somewhere in Tibet or somewhere around the world that you're looking for answers and you're going to seek the guru on the mountaintop that knows all the answers. Okay, and Jesus had 12 disciples, and the number 12 appears 187 times in the Bible. Not that 187 means anything, it's just a lot of times. And you go, what the heck could number 12 mean something different? And according to the Jewish church fathers, the people who researched this, basically 12 means completeness of the tabernacle or verbiage to that effect. And I'm going to read that, interpret that as someone who has taken that path and figured that path out and is now ready to show others. So the mountain is an elevated position, symbolic of being above, off the ground. Okay, that may or may not be the case. It's just a fun thing that you look at, and it just looks very familiar when you read a lot of different spiritual stories, a lot of teaching stories. Verse 2, then he began to speak and taught them, saying, and here is the first of his, guys, you better get this. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. First thing, it's a spiritual verse. We make it about ourselves. If I want to unlock this verse, the first thing I have to do is say, this verse is me. I am represented metaphorically by this verse. The kingdom of heaven is, for the purpose of this, it is a state of being, a mental state of being, like Buddha's nirvana. When Jesus says the kingdom of heaven within, and to achieve the kingdom of heaven within, do so as a child, there's a lot of hints that you are supposed to find a place of inner peace. And I'm going with that. This doesn't reference heaven as being a distant place. I mean, you could say that. You could do that, but that goes into the supernatural, non-demonstrable, and suddenly you shrug and say, well, I'll wait till I die to find out. So we're going to call the kingdom of heaven a mental state of being for this, like Buddha's nirvana, as I said. Blessed are the poor in spirit. What is the spirit? The spirit is, it's me. It's my mind. 2,000 years ago, they didn't know we had a brain, but they figured this stuff out. They saw how things happened. They knew that if you held something inside of you someplace, your soul, your spirit, they couldn't say your mind, your stored synaptic activity. They had no idea. To them, it was a soul. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Listen to Jesus saying, enter into the kingdom of heaven like a child. What do we have here? We have somebody who is born, any of us, and we are okay. We're ready. We're a clean slate, and we're raised and we're programmed. And how we are raised and how we are programmed determines what we become and how our life is and whether it's good or bad. Depends on the situation you're in. Our brains get programmed to be that way. And we grow and we develop, and we sometimes, for those of us that this fits with, you experience hurt, pain, shame, anger, judgments, things that begin limiting you as a human being that you didn't come to this planet with. You were not born with those prejudices. You were taught those. You were conditioned those. You were told those until they became a part of your existence. That is what creates life that is generally full of aggravation, angst, anxiety, issues, conflict, because we hold those things inside of us. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Get rid of that stuff. If I was to, as humbly as possible, try to reword this verse today in the way that I understand it, I might say, blessed are those who lack judgmental convictions, for they will have inner peace. Okay, next verse. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Again, we turned it inward. Mourn, you mourn the things inside of you. What do you carry that hurts you? If you do, I want to caveat this with this realization that some people are born incredibly happy. They don't have these issues. This isn't for them. This isn't a path to help you find your inner happiness. You never lost it. Everybody's born with it. You didn't get all the things put in the way. This teaching is to help those of us who were raised in such a way that our bliss got covered over by life. This is helping us strip off that life so we can get back to the bliss. We need to mourn. We need to take all of those things that we harbor inside of us, that we hide away and we don't want to deal with because they hurt in some way that we don't like to deal with, and we have to mourn them. We have to deal with them. We have to put them to rest. If we don't, we've essentially, metaphorically made them demons and closed the doors, put a closet in them, we're hiding them away. And as long as we do that, we're not going to find comfort. And you can only know that experientially. If you are harboring things inside of you that you don't want to let out, think about it right now. How does it make you feel? You got inner peace? You got comfort? You have to mourn those things. You have to heal yourself. How would I reword this one today? Blessed are you if you resolve your conflicts. You will gain comfort. And notice I didn't say, blessed are you if you resolve your inner conflicts. You will gain comfort. Remember, this is a spiritual teaching. It's all about the inner self. If you resolve those inner conflicts, your outer conflicts cease to be. When the outer conflicts are there, it's because of inner conflicts, but we can't see that connection. Our ego is a horrible thing that gets in the way. We have to be right. Next verse. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. It's your earth. It is your life. You want to inherit freedom in your capacity to live your life. You want to inherit your earth. If you are not meek, then what are you doing? You're fighting. You are fighting for. You're fighting against. You've got some kind of angst, this poor in spirit. All of these things are starting to look like, boy, we're harboring something inside of us that he's telling you, you've got to let things go. You've got to disconnect. You've got to pull back from that stuff. If you want to inherit the earth, if you want to have your life experiences, you have to let go of everybody else's life experiences, because all you're doing is helping these become community experiences that are one way or another, teeter-tottering back and forth. How do you make that stop? Well, people need to start getting off the rides. You got to let go, step back. That's it. If you are meek, that means you're letting go of that stuff. You're letting go of your anger, your angst, and all of that. How would I reword that today? I'm going to bring something else into this too. Blessed are those who do not resist what is, for they will flow with the Tao. Life will unfold in a very smooth way. The zone, your Zen, when you let go of all of the things that you're harboring inside that confuse and create life that is difficult, and you let all that stuff go and you become free of those things, life begins to unfold in a way that is more smooth. Next verse. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Okay, this one is got two critical parts. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Hunger and thirst is spiritual. That's desire. That's not simply wanting an answer, but it's sometimes really a burning desire. My God, what is the matter? What the hell? I've had it. Sometimes hunger and thirst spiritually is like that. Really hungry, really thirsty. Metaphor. Righteousness. I want the right answer. The right answer is different for different people, but really there's only one thing. We don't know what it is. Here's how I approach righteousness, and I don't know if I'm correct. I could go along in life and say, I don't know what the meaning of life is. And I find God and I go, I believe God. I'm going to keep searching. And I go and I search and I find all of the things that help me prove God. And things that don't line up, I dismiss them, or I try to figure out a way that they're wrong, or that they somehow, some way, I am searching, I am looking, I am hunger and thirsting. But I've already made a conviction about what my belief is. What I am gaining is knowledge that supports my pre-existing belief. And that exactly happens whether you're, well, no matter what you're looking for, even if it's the earth is flat, you'll find stuff that supports your belief. That's, to me, not righteousness. To me, righteousness is the one that says there is something and I want the answer, and somebody says it's this. And you ask how or why, and they say, you know what, you just have to believe. And you're like, I see what's there, but I don't have that belief you have. I can't stop there. It doesn't satisfy me. Because I see success elsewhere, and I see other things in other places. And I'm coming from a place that sometimes is so far back that I'm desperate, and I'm going to try a bunch of stuff you might not try, because I don't know what works for me. And when I see your life and I see where you are, sometimes I think you're not where I want to be anyway. My righteousness is not your righteousness. I don't want, anytime I stop along the way and say, you know what, I'm going to believe in this faith. I'm going to believe in, I don't want to fill in those gaps, but when you decide you're going to commit to something, you're done searching right there. Your righteousness has ended. That sounds harsh. Let me be clear. There's a lot of metaphor. There's a lot of old word. Righteousness in this case doesn't mean good or bad or something like that. It means that you are satisfied with something that if you question it, it can fall apart and you won't question it. Or you're the person that says, I like this and I believe in it. Oh, but I asked too many questions and it started falling apart, so I dismissed it. And I'm going to go look for something different. To me, that's a very small difference, but that's the difference. And it doesn't really mean righteousness as we know the term. It means I'm looking for what I believe is the ultimate truth, that when I keep poking holes in it and asking it questions, it finally quits falling apart. And I'm not there yet. And that's what I mean by that. I don't know, like I said, if that's right. I don't know what else it could mean, though. Jesus said to seek and you would find, and knock and it would be opened. And he didn't leave any caveats. It was wide open. He didn't say within any constraints or any belief system. It was just seek and knock, period. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. I think if you are looking for answers, you will find your answers. At least I hope so. Although I don't think I have. Anyway, that's how I read this verse. And how would I reword it today? I would say, blessed are you who desire truthful knowledge. It will come to you. Okay, moving on to verse 7, we have, blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Okay, on all of these verses, we're looking at turning them inward, and this whole first section right here is, you should recognize it as a self-healing. I'm trying to get rid of all the stuff that I have that are judgments, that are hurtful things. I'm trying to do forgiveness. When you're being merciful to yourself over the things that you're hard on yourself for, or the things that you hold over yourself or over other people. Mercy is letting go. Merciful means I am letting people off the hook. But it's really an inner thing. For a spiritual growth, it isn't letting other people off the hook. If you do let other people off the hook, it is only because you've done that through yourself and you've become that. But if you just look inward at yourself and say, boy, I need to let my off the hook filter go, instead of working it slowly away by an outward means, I could go right to that filter. And I think that's a little off here. That's me adding into this. But blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. You're looking at being merciful about all of the things inside of you where mercy isn't present, whether it is anger, hatred, shame against other people, against yourself, against anything like that. You're really looking here to achieve a state of peace and calamity and non-aggressive clutching and clinging and holding on to things. And the blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy, is simply another way to kind of dovetail that teaching in with the rest of his teachings. And if I was to change that and say anything about it different today, it would be something as simple like become mercy and you will experience mercy. But you'll be getting to see a trend here. In fact, let's move right on to verse 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. What was the first verse, remember? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you swap out poor in spirit with the first one, with pure in heart for the next one, and then see God, kingdom of heaven, you can see that they're the same verse, put with a little bit different verbiage to them. It still carries the same message, the message of letting go, lacking judgment. You can see over and over again here that this teaching is not all over the place. It's a very focused, inner healing teaching if you read it in this manner. I theorize that. If you read Buddhism in this way, you get it. You get this. If you read Hinduism like this, you get this. Okay, we will move on to the next one then. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Making peace with yourself. You're on the inner path. Yeah, as you move along, you're going to find struggles. You're going to have inner struggles. Stop and look at that struggle and ask what it is. What is the struggle comprised of? What two ideas are you holding that are in conflict? But we could look at something like this even further and say that children of God, peacemakers, if you are making peace with all of the things in yourself, the children of God are the people that are following God, that are following the path. Yeah, could it mean more than that? Making peace with yourself will put you on this inner path. Verse 10. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, this is a self-healing step, but it's also starting to transition into physical life. And by that, let me tell you this. If you are persecuted for righteousness' sake, if you are turning inward, you are looking at things that you harbor inside of you that need to be taken care of, and you're resolving them. They need to be put right. They need to be put right for righteousness' sake. You need to take care of those things because you're dragging them with you and they hurt you and you know they're there and they haunt you and they act out, or maybe they don't act out, but they hurt you, they haunt you. Somehow, some way, you know yourself if it affects the quality of your life. And then it's your choice to do that. If you make peace with that, you're on the path. You're doing that. If you don't make peace with it, you're not the children of God. You're not on the path. You have to keep making peace with things in order to progress. It's steps. But it's also very important for me to pass along what I believe is an experiential step that fits with this, that was something that did cause me consternation along the path until I recognized what was going on. So if you're going through the self-persecution and you're changing, then you're going to change the kind of person that you are. We know if we're in this position already that we form groups, we start places, and when we cease to fit because we're growing and we don't know how to leave that group and we try to change the group and the group says, wow, I'm not ready for that, get out of here. You're going to get persecuted as you're growing because you're going to start coming to terms with things that you're ready to grow with, but there's some of the things that keep you there and they're not ready to grow. So as you start touching those things, the people around you are going to realize, yeah, you're not ours anymore. You got to go. And you have to be aware of that. And what this is telling you is that, yeah, that's going to happen. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to do one more verse and wrap up this video, but the next one is very important because it fits right in with this one right here. Then we won't have to pick up on it again. Number 11, blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way, they persecuted the prophets who were before you. This just tells what I kind of just detailed a little bit. That as you do this and as you come to terms with things that you have a lot of guilt and shame over, but you're with people that you're all groups and friends and you don't know how much you share on a subconscious level. But as you start growing, you're going to realize, oh, we all fit together and now I don't fit. And you're going to be touching on your fears, which is going to be causing their fears to surface inside of them, which is going to cause them to lash out, and that's going to happen. And what this is saying right here is, yeah, it's going to happen. Be happy. You're on track. It happened to the people before you who took this course. And that's it. I'm going to let that summarize this video. You see that it's a different take on Jesus. When I move into the next one, into the salt and light, it'll be along the same vein. I'm looking for enlightenment from a teacher. And not supernatural. And I'm finding something that sounds a lot like it gets you to the same place as Buddha would. It isn't Buddhism. You can see that. If you know Buddhism and you know Christ, Jesus, the teachings, the verses, you know that they're not different, but that if you do them, you know, they're nesting the same thing. Love, peace, kindness, take care of yourself, let go of things. Live a life happy in nirvana or the kingdom of heaven within by forgiving yourself, letting yourself off the hook, and letting things go. And that is exactly how this starts out. Okay, I'm looking forward to the next one. And till then, feel free to leave comments below. It's a theory. Don't beat me up too bad. Love one another. I'll see you in the next video.